Hi, Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2022-23 series of Millwall No One Likes Us Talkings, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and James Kelly.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
To begin with, a short pause to remember the man who we lost this week and who spent 35 years at Millwall Football Club, brought some of its greatest players to the club. Chief Scout and much more. Rest in peace, Bob Pearson. Well, hi gang, it was a tale of two giveaway goals, twice over against Coventry at home and away at Swansea. What do we reckon? How about you, Debbie? Got any thoughts?
Yeah, well, a very, very, very slow start for us. And we just didn't defend well. The goals in the first 12 minutes. And they started well. It's just so disappointing there. Bennett, the forward, got injured. But it looked as though he had a hamstring problem. Tyler came on. And he did well. He's normally a winger, isn't he? The sort of Jamie I can never say his word. Shackleton. Thank you very much. Hit the crossbar, didn't he? So there was no goals from any of our strikers and midfield. They're all been with midfielders. It's very odd there. Tyler hit the post, and John Honeymoon put it in. And Tyler did well. The two Leeds boys have not really settled in well. Fleming, the Dutch player, is unfortunately injured and out for the. It'd be interesting to see him when he comes ready and back from injury. And we've got news of the German centre forward, Andreas. He played at the Union Berlin, a very good club. Apparently, he's always wanted to play for England, and he's age 30. It's not easy getting a permit for him, is what Jeff told me on that one. And good to see Fergie make a cameo role at Swansea and hit the crossbar with an audacious lob there. So great game, really, at the end. But the most significant moment was... none of the goals, but it was obviously Ryan Leonard's tackle. So that was the match levelling moment, wasn't it? And then the team put on the pressure, and the defender was forced by Tyler, and they kept on pushing. And that home goal, if it hadn't been a home goal, Tyler would have definitely scored that. He was. It's very unlucky that they're having to travel to Norwich for the game this evening.
Thanks, Debbie. I'll take James next.
Well, I think if this week has proved anything, it's that supporting Millwall should come with a health warning. Yeah, I mean, this is the third. Swansea was the third game now where we've conceded in the opening 10 minutes in a row. We've just not started off well enough, to be honest, and I think. We've shown a lot of resilience to come back against Coventry to win, and then we've also shown the same resilience to get a draw at Swansea when it looked like everything was lost. I've been really impressed. As I said, I've been really impressed with the resilience of the team. I've just not really been impressed with the way we've started in terms of our team selection, to be honest. I'd much rather see Sean Hutchinson play in centre half. I think he adds a lot of composure to our back line. It showed when he came on when he came on against Swansea. But I'm going to look at the positives as well. We are, I think, the joint top scorers in the league now. That's how mad it is. I think us and Middlesbrough have 7 goals each this season so far. So it shows that we know how to find the back of the net. We've been, taking chances, and we've been getting points that when it looks like we didn't think we would, which is a bit of a stark contrast to some years gone by where we've not really been knocking on the door as much, and we've been settling for not losing rather than winning, and I think that showed especially against Coventry. So it's been a very promising start, 2 very good performances to come back, but we need to get out of the habit of conceding early on, because eventually it will catch up with us.
Okay, James. Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, I think Debbie and James has said pretty well everything there is to be said. All the fans are thinking the same things. I think it's worth remembering at Swansea that we did hit the bar twice, and there was also a great save from I think it was a shot by Jamie Shackleton that the keeper turned over the crossbar. Can't quite remember, but I don't think it was as undeserved a point as some people think. Clearly, when you're 2 down in stoppage time, you're delighted to get that result. And Debbie quite rightly mentioned the moment of the match, which was that unbelievable recovery and tackle by Ryan Leonard. He's a player that has eventually won the Millwall crowd over, not before time, but he probably would have done much sooner if he hadn't had a couple of quite long-term injuries in his 4 or 5 years here. I think he's a terrific player, and I think he can play in several positions. Sometimes that counts against the player, but I was delighted with that tackle. Unbelievable tackle.
Yes.
And the fact that it then earned us a point at the other end off a right-footed cross by Scott Malone, who messed up the corner, I think, with his left foot, but then put a great cross in with his right foot.
Absolutely.
And I'm convinced Tyler would have put that in, and I think it was. I thought at the time he had done, unfortunately, this failure to win away has gone on for some time now.
Yeah.
It was the end of last season. I think someone said the stat was it's 7 games without a win away from home in the league.
Yeah.
So law of averages, Carrow Road Friday night, tonight. Maybe that's the one that breaks it. Let's hope we start a bit sharper.
Let's be hopeful. Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
That's what's gone, and Carrow Road tonight. See if old Carl Bates can break some more furniture in the press box, and we can break some Canary hearts. That'd be wonderful. Anyhow, we'll take a break there and hear about the new fans match day programme.
Hi, Bethany here. Want a match day programme? You'll find them with sellers outside the ground by the gates at Zampa Road, Stockholm Road and Senegal Road. They cost £1 and the sellers ask if you can have the right money, as change will be difficult. If you want to get a message, photos of special events, memorials, or just ones for good luck to be included, email smprogram@protonmail.com. That is smprogramme@protonmail.com. It's a great read.
Yeah, and Bethany, recover well from not being so well. We look forward to seeing you back on the show. I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and James Kelly. Don't forget, have your pound coin ready on match days or buy 5 for a £5. Before we move on to our first guest, here is No One Likes Us Talking's Ted Robinson, who wanted to share his thoughts about the late, great Bob Pearson.
I wanted to say to all our listeners, rest in peace, Bob Pearson. He was quite simply the Muhammad Ali of the football scouting world, the greatest. From all Millwall fans, we thank you for all the wonderful talent we got to see thanks to you and your remarkable talent. Bob Pearson, a true Lion and a Millwall legend. My condolences go out to all his family.
Thanks, Ted. Very poignant. Today, Phil Coleman received this message from Bob Pearson's granddaughter. Hi, Phil. Grandad's funeral will be Wednesday, 7th of September at 12 p.m. at Slough Crematorium, SL2 5AX. That's Slough Crematorium, SL2 5AX. Details of the wake are still to be finalised, as it's looking to be bigger than we initially expected. Grandad's wish was always to have colours at his funeral and no black, as he wanted to be a celebration of his life rather than a mourning of his death. Hope to see you there, and please pass the details on to anyone else you know who wishes to come. The more the merrier. Jeff Burnige has got a few words to say.
Yeah, it's a lovely tribute from Ted there. I know a lot of Millwall fans have spoken to me in admiration for what Bob did. We did do a special podcast. It was Brian King, Phil Coleman himself, and myself. We did one. What was it called? I think it was called Remembering Bob Pearson. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
And that gave a little bit of detail about what all three of us remember about Bob and the three great Millwall teams that he built virtually single-handed. So that is well worth a listen. Apparently it's been listened to by an amazing number of people. So that shows you in what great esteem Bob was held. R.I.P. Bob.
Hi, Bethany here. Want a matchday programme? You'll find them with sellers outside the ground by the gates at Zampa Road, Stockholm Road and Senegal Road. They cost £1 and the sellers ask if you can have the right money, as change will be difficult. If you want to get a message, photos of special events, memorials or just ones for good luck to be included, email smprogram@protonmail.com. That is smprogramme@protonmail.com. It's a great read.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes to Talk team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and James Kelly. Our first guest is still a familiar face at the Den today. He was born and brought up in Lambeth. He signed from Aldershot in May 1984. He played 273 games for us as a midfielder and scored 15 goals before he left on a free transfer to Brighton in August of 1991. He was the captain that took us to the top flight for the only time in our history. It is, of course, Les Briley. Well, it's great to speak to you, Les.
Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, absolutely delighted, as usual. Bit of sad news this week with the passing of Bob Pearson. Can you tell us about your memories of the man that went to Aldershot to watch a player but came back without him and returned singing your praises instead?
Yeah, obviously he'd come to watch a player called Dal Banton. Aldershot had signed Dal, and it was his first season in, and he was scoring lots of goals. And Bob had come, obviously, to watch Dal, because everybody wants to pick a goal scorer up. We could all do with them every game.
Yeah.
And he went back to report to George Graham, and he said to George, don't fancy Dal Banton that much. He said, but I tell you what, he said, I'll take Les Briley. So.
But what did George say?
Oh, well, George. Well, funny enough, George said, well, as usual, typical George, well, let me go and have a look as well, Bob. and George turned up in what he thought was a bit of a disguise. He had a different hat on, dark glasses and everything like that, Big Mac, and sitting in director's box was a bit of a giveaway, wasn't it?
A little bit.
And then the guy in front of him turned around and said, "You all right, George?" And of course, as soon as half-time came, George Graham's here. Yeah, he's over there. Yeah, it's the guy with the dark glasses and the hat and the collar up and everything like that, trying to look. But yeah, he obviously agreed with Bob, because Bob didn't get it wrong very often.
No, that's what so many people say.
He never got it wrong.
And so many players were. I mean, in that side that you were in, how many of those other players were obtained through Bob's actions?
Through Bob, Ian Dawes, Alan Walker, Keith was already at the club, Terry Hurlock, myself, Wesley Reed, Kevin O'Callaghan, Tony Cascarino, Teddy Sheringham, Jimmy Carter. Well, that's virtually a whole side, virtually.
Yeah.
So that's without what the players he'd brought in a youth team. Don't forget, it's not just a scouting system. Bob was hugely involved in the youth department at Millwall as well.
That's right.
And that went on to produce fabulous players. And going back, you can go back to Dave Memmott, Tony Kinsella, Andy Massey, players, all that the club have produced into their first team. Fantastic, absolutely outstanding, really was.
It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And of course, it was in that second season in the top tier that Bob took over, wasn't it, as the manager for a time? Yeah,
he realistically did the club a favour, and what should have happened was the club should have appointed a manager, but they had a manager in the background, but the manager didn't want to take the job until we were down officially, which was a little bit wrong for me. If you're going to take the job, whether they're down or not, then you take the job. But there you go. So he took the job and gave it everything. We gave everything for Bob, as always. And he was just a fantastic fella, a great guy. He would go out of his way to do things for you, extra exceptional, really top class man, really was.
Yeah, there's been so many tributes paid to him by people across the years, from young Richard Sadlier in that team of the early 2000s. Theo Paphitis, who was the chair around that time. And oh so many more. So what would be your everlasting memory, really?
Probably on one of the trips abroad. Bob always used to come on a trip abroad. The club were very good at the time, taking us away because we were successful. And I remember one incident in particular. We were on a boat going out on a trip in Malaysia, and John Dott came driving up on this speedboat with Frank McClintock. They were late in getting on the boat, and they joined us, and they came up the beach along with his speedboat, and then and they couldn't get it quite as near as they wanted. So what John and Frank had to do is they had to jump off the boat and then into the water. Anyway, John, we're all watching, we're all standing, giving him stick, because it was always a thing that you're late, and everything like that. And then Bob just shouted, "Jump!" and Doc jumped. He jumped at the wrong time, kind of thing. The boat was going back out, and the tide was coming back in, and then John disappeared, and he got washed up eventually. With the tide washed him in eventually, but we lost him for about 30 seconds and didn't see lower. And Bob couldn't stop laughing. He's just absolutely falling apart laughing. It was just so funny, Great to see a great man laugh like that. It really was.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Thanks, Les. There's some great memories in that. Absolutely great.
Yeah, no problem, Zane.
That's wonderful. For now, let's look forward. What are your thoughts on the team that Gary Rowett has now assembled?
Yeah, I think we've got off to a brilliant start. We just lost at Sheffield United. A little bit disappointed with that. Maybe could have got away with a draw, but no, a cracking start. Made some good signings. The young boy Cresswell has got off to a good start as well, considering he wasn't in the lineup. He wasn't due to play, and then he plays, and then he gets 2 goals. We win 2-0. Great start to the season again. Yeah. Fabulous. Honeyman scored a goal in his third game. And that was a good little tap in. He looks quite good. So I've been impressed with the start, really, by Gary. And obviously they've had a really decent pre-season, which does help.
Yes.
A lot of people say, sometimes, it doesn't really matter about pre-season. Pre-season does matter, because if you get it right in pre-season, generally you go on and you build on that. And it generally plays the better part for you in that season. So yeah, really, really, really pleased with Gary. Yeah.
What do you think about old young Tyler Bury? Seems to be making a big impact.
Yeah, Tyler. It could be Tyler's big successful year, I think. He's grown. He's a lot more mature than he was. He's grown up a bit. And Gary seems to have trying to get his feet on the ground the right way. And I think you're right. I think it's definitely going to be it. He's got pace.
Yes.
He can finish. And his work ethic is getting better and better as it naturally does. So I think he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I think so too. We had your friend and matchday commentator on recently, Carl Bates. Of course, you and he were the matchday commentary team for some time. After that, we were asked a question by a listener who wanted to know what preparation a commentator has to do before each game. Well, seeing as I'm talking to you and you'll know what goes on, you'll be able to tell us. I think.
Well, you have to look. Yeah, you have to look up everything about the upcoming games. Carl always used to do the history, and he always used to get it spot on. He was brilliant at doing things like that. I would do a little bit of analysis and stuff like that you have to do. And the prep, if you don't get it right, then you fall down on the commentary.
Yeah.
And hopefully we didn't not get it too right. The players' names, how you pronounce them, and we'd go through both the teams, and some of the names were a little bit tricky. You didn't want to trip up on names and things like that. So yeah, there's lots and lots of preparation goes, and it's unbelievable how good Carl Bates is. He really is fabulous commentator, and I was just a co-commentator and just used to kind of back him up, and I'd see things that going on, and he might not spot the kind of things, and I'd have to point them out, and then he would get the things right and say the right things, kind of thing. So because he knows the terminology, but thoroughly enjoyed co-commentating with Carl. He was a pleasure to work with and fabulous guy.
Yeah, he continues well, and he's developed that partnership now with Max McClellan, and They're quite funny, to say the least.
Yeah, Max is brilliant. Yeah, I love Max. He's replaced me brilliantly, absolutely, and obviously he's better than me. So yeah, well done, Max.
I wouldn't say that, Les. Behave yourself. now, of course, we mentioned Carl, and of course he had that wonderful event a couple of seasons ago at Carrow Road, where he managed to destroy part of the press box. Well, we hope he doesn't do that tonight. Well, if he does, and it puts off the Norwich team and fans and everybody else, that'd be wonderful. But seeing as we're playing Norwich tonight, what do you think we're going to do? Can you give us a prediction?
I would say it's going to be close. I'd like to think that we might shave it 1-0 or 2-1, or even get a draw. But I don't see us going there and losing.
That's good.
I think we're solid in defence. Although we've conceded goals, we seem to be creating a little bit more this year going forward. We look to have a, and I'm not sure if the big man is going to play tonight. I don't know the team. You might know a bit more about that, Eamonn, than me.
I'm not clear at the moment, but I know one thing is, according to the Norwich situation, Teemu Pukki won't be playing. He's got a foot injury.
Oh, that's a result.
That is a result.
That's a result. He's decent. Yeah, Pukki's main goal scorer for them. Yeah. But our big man, Mr. Vogslammer, if that's the right pronunciation.
Jeff Burnige will tell you if you're right or wrong. Don't worry, because he's got a distinct language benefit there, because he studied there for 2 years, and he keeps telling people if they're close to pronouncing it right or if they've got it vastly wrong. So I just call him Vogie, like Gary Rowett does. It's easier, I think.
Brilliant, love that. Yeah, Vogie, that's a great get out. Yeah, brilliant.
You can't beat a Vogie. That's it. Yeah. Let's hope so. Anyway. So,
let's hope so.
That's good. Well, Les, as usual, thanks for coming on, and we look forward to you returning in not the too distant future with the insight that you possess about the wonderful game, and particularly at the Den, where we still see you to this day. But as I say, thanks for coming on. Bye for now, and all the best to you and your family.
Been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eamonn.
Cheers, Les.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Yep, bye.
We will take a break there and listen to Harvey Brown and Debbie Julians.
First of all, let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? It is now located in the Millwall Community Trust car park. That's beside Millwall's Den in Ballina Road. That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need your support, and you can help if you can by making a one-off or a regular monetary donation online at Banquet. That is BANKUET. You should make donations on a match day at the Lions Food Hub, opposite the 1885 bar, the Cold Blow Lane end of the ground. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via their Twitter or Facebook sites.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes to Talk team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and James Kelly. Energy and food poverty is rising beyond our wildest dreams from 12 months ago and is likely to double again. But your kindness will be much appreciated and lessen the burden on the many families at risk. Let's hear from Ellis Barr, who looked excellent kicking a football around, wielding a cricket bat recently and sporting her new Millwall kit. Ellis Barr.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to. and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, come on, Millwall. You're right there, Ellis. And hopefully tonight we will see the Lions record a famous victory. Anyway, back to the Millwall Romans and Millwall Pride, who are yet to return to league action. But Director of Football, Paul Loding, delivered a report ahead of the show. So we can listen to what Paul has to say.
Hi, all. Just an update from the Millwall Romans. We have started our pre-season matches, which have been going okay, I would say. Pride team played Charlton at St Paul's last week and trialling out some new players, etc. It was a good game, but unfortunately they succumbed to them 2-1. Obviously, it's pre-season friendly, so that one doesn't count for the history books. The Romans team had their first away game on Sunday as well, playing away at Hackney Marshes in very, very difficult conditions with the sun. Pitches over there are not in the best condition, as you can imagine. We played a team we've never played before. They set up quite well. Under our new management of Rob Barr, we've tried a new system of playing 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, and then 2 up front. And it seemed to work quite well. Obviously, from the new system, we were quite strong in midfield. They were very well organised. They liked to knock it around, but they couldn't seem to get that final ball into their quite big striker. But we still played quite well. The goal they scored was a counter attack, and we set up some really, really nice play. We definitely had the best chances out of the teams. This Sunday, the Pride team are playing at St Paul's against Stokey FC, who are in the league. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff if anyone wants to come down, so a bit of a later one, but 4 o'clock kickoff at St Paul's. Moving forward for the league, our first home game is on the 11th, and our first home game is against each other. So it will be the 11th, which will be our new kit launch as well. I'll get some more details nearer the time. But that will be our first game of the season. It'll be the Romans team playing the Pride team at St Paul's. Also good to see the Millwall team playing in 4th. They've obviously had a draw this week in very, very late on going, which is a good to nick a point. And quick predictions for tonight's game at away to Norwich. Obviously Millwall have had a much better start than Norwich. I'm going to say Millwall 2-0.
Well, I suppose we take that all day, Millwall 2-0. I think, wouldn't we, everyone? Yeah.
We definitely take that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clean sheet away from home, love it.
Yeah, even better. Not letting goals in.
Clean sheet in general, yeah.
Letting goals in. So it looks like the old Millwall Romans and Pride are tuning up for the season, and it's good to see that Paul has now taken that director of football role with the 2 sides, and he's got one new captain in. Andy Thorne is still the captain of Pride. Okay, our next guest this evening brought the best out of the Lionesses last season, who he joined post the season starting, and they consolidated their position as newcomers to their league. He's a Millwall fan, man and boy, and was delighted to pick up the Lionesses manager's job during that last season. Hello, Jack Wheeler.
Good evening, Eamonn. How are you?
I'm good, and so are the team. They'll say hello in a minute.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Good evening.
Before I let you off to the panel, Jack, how would you sum up what was achieved by Millwall Lionesses last season?
We done really well last year. We made lots of progress. When I very first come in, the objective was for us to just maintain our position in the league. Obviously going into a new league for the season, and obviously jumping up a couple of leagues, it was an idea from Sean Daly that we just basically wanted to make sure that we didn't have a very good start post me, that we wanted to make sure that we maintained our position in the league, and we've done that. I think we finished 5th or 6th in the league, so we finished very good mid-table. So for us, that was a number one objective, and we obviously more than achieved that. And really, the progress of the squad was kind of the one of the other ones that goes alongside that in terms of the success of the season is that with each week and with each month, the squad progressed really well, and then we was more than holding our own towards the end of the season within that league. And at the start of the season, we was a little bit struggling, but we managed to get ourselves there in the end. And it's all about building the blocks and making progress. So I definitely think we've made it over the last year or so, or just under a year. So I'm really pleased, and I hope the club's really pleased, or vice versa.
Jack, it's Jeff here. Lovely to speak to you. There have been some comings and goings in the close season. Who have you said goodbye to? Who has joined? And what do you think the newcomers bring to the side?
So we've had probably a couple of faces that have left, and obviously each team goes through evolutions and progressions as they go. So it's just the nature of how it is that some people will leave for other clubs, and some people you have to move on and make room for new individuals that are coming in. But the people that have left, so most notably I'd probably say the two most notable ones has been obviously Libby Stubbs and Liz O'Callaghan. And Libby was our captain last year, and she's gone on to move to another club in London, and Liz has unfortunately had to move out of South East London, so that means that the commute and a few other bits like that aren't doable for her, so she's had to move to another club. But they've both been great servants to the club over the Libby has over the years, and obviously Liz come in during the season last year, just after I come in, and I'm really happy for them, and I hope that they progress and continue their footballing journey. And in regards to the new faces, we've done quite a lot of recruiting in the off season. Most notably, I know the club have publicised only a few so far, but there's a few more that are to come out, and the ones that have been most notable in terms of coming in, Jade Keogh comes to mind. Jade Keogh has played at Tier 3 football with myself at Gillingham. We've made 3 signings from Gillingham. We've made a couple of girls that used to play at Gills that I know. So Grace Seeley, Shana, Atisha, Jade, Jazz come to mind. We've had a few that have just kind of turned up and have been really good, so we've taken them on board. And yeah, there's probably another 2 or 3 that we're waiting to publicise, but we've definitely added greater depth and greater quality to the squad this year, which I'm hoping will hopefully kick us onto the next level. And we need to have a competitive squad to get there. So I'm happy with where the squad is. Training's really good, and the recruits are settled in nice and well. And it just means that we should hopefully be in a stronger position hopefully this season.
Oh, that's good to know, Jack. And we look forward to seeing them in the first league game this Sunday at Swansea.
Yeah, exciting times there, Jack. Hi, it's Debbie here. I watched the Lionesses a number of times last season and was very proud. I will be at Swansea this weekend, along with Jeff, I believe, to watch the first league outing. What do you anticipate you will face from the Swansea team?
Well, I anticipate a really tough game. They gave us some really competitive games last season. They're under new management they've made a managerial change in the off-season, so I'm anticipating that they'll obviously be ready and raring to go, and obviously have a point to prove to the new manager as to why the players should be playing. So I'm anticipating it's going to be a really physical game. I know they made some really good signings so far. Avila and Molly are 2 examples of that, and Avila has previously played in Championship football, so I know that they're not going to be a weak outfit, so I need to make sure that we're prepped for that. But I'm anticipating a really tough physical game. That was kind of how it was last year when we played Swansea. We ended up beating them 1-0 at home, but it was a really physical game. We ended up having going down to 10 men and managed to get the win 1-0 and then defend to make sure that we see the game out. But I'm anticipating something very similar, that it's going to be a very physical game. They're normally very direct, and yeah, it's going to be a big challenge, good opening challenge for us. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how the girls deal with it and see where we're at. And we'll find that out over the first couple of weeks of the season.
That's great. So we're looking to have a really exciting game then on Sunday. Thank you.
Hello, Jack. It's James here. The England Lionesses' success in the Euro finals brought bigger crowds than ever before to watch the women's game. So with that in mind, what are your expectations of the impact of that tournament for the game in England And have you seen any upturn in interest in people wanting to join the Millwall Lionesses?
I think the upturn will be the future. So in terms of the initial buzz was obviously brilliant in the summer, and we're really looking forward to pushing the Lionesses as much as possible. And then hopefully, from us not having any league games, it'll be interesting to see on the 28th of August when we play our first home game at St Paul's. I'm hoping that we'll have obviously a bumper crowd, and that we'll be in a position where we'll have a good couple of hundred people that will come down and show their interest in the Lionesses. But I genuinely think that we'll really start to see the fruits of the loin of the Lionesses over the probably next 5 and 10 years, when all these young girls that have watched it will gradually take up the football boots and be given the opportunity and exposure to go and play girls and women's football. In regards to player recruitment, we kind of know where we was at and kind of achieved the targets that we wanted. So I'm just hoping that in the future it's gonna kick on really for the English women's game, and I'm hoping that off the back of obviously the success of the Lionesses, that we can obviously hopefully get a few more Millwall supporters down to watch the Lionesses and really start to grow the project.
Absolutely, brilliant stuff.
Jack, it's Jeff here again. Just one more question before we let you go. What are your objectives for the team this season?
Objectives is for us to be what we deem in terms of in-house successful. So we're looking to build the blocks. Obviously, I think we finished 6th this season. So, in my opinion, anything above that will be deemed as a success. The league has got a lot tougher. So, for example, United and Acorns coming up into our league, and Enfield coming down, and now Kentford United that have now rebranded as Ebbsfleet, and with us losing two of the weaker teams that division, and two of the teams that have come up are now really strong, it really makes for a really competitive league this year. And they do say that our Tier 5, our league, is the toughest around to try and get promoted out of. So from my perspective, it's going to be, can we build on the success that we had last season and the transition that we went through to try and make sure that we keep building. And obviously we finished 6th last year, so the objective is to try and finish higher than that for this season. And hopefully if we keep going the way upon which we're going, then hopefully at some point mount some sort of title challenge to get ourselves back up into the next league. Obviously that would like to be done as quickly as possible, but I'm obviously really conscious that making sure that we walk before we can run. So we're obviously just trying to build on what we've done last season, so potentially finishing higher at the mid-table is what we're looking to do.
Super. Well, great insight, Jack. Interesting facts there, and we hope that you achieve your objectives and the team comes through and meets your expectations. As always, it's a pleasure to have you join us. But before you go, can you give us a prediction for Norwich v Millwall?
I'll give you a prediction. We obviously like to make life a little bit difficult for ourselves recently. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Millwall. Always back your team. But obviously at the minute we like to be giving away goals inside 2 minutes. So for me, I'm going to say that Norwich will probably score, but we'll get ourselves back in the game and then manage to win the game, very similar to how we've done quite recently in recent weeks. So I definitely think we'll get the big win, because we seem to have made a really positive start, and it shows good character from the squad in terms of what they've been doing recently to start getting points out of games when games could quite easily go away from them. So I definitely think we'll win, and hopefully it'll be 2-1. So,
well, we've got to give away a goal, haven't we? Thank you, Jack. We look forward to your return not too distant future to update us on the Lionesses' progress. Bye for now, and all the best to you, your family, and of course, the Lionesses.
Bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
No problem. Take care.
Tonight, we are facing Norwich City at Carrow Road. They have dropped down from the Premiership after a season and recorded their first win this week against former Lions player Danny Schofield's side, Huddersfield Town. We have won none of our last 4 away games against Canaries, recording 1 draw and 3 losses. The year they got promoted, we played out that draw and also a goalless draw at the Den. The betting sees a Norwich win as being favoured, followed closely by odds for a draw being the next most likely result. Now, the other side of the coin is We haven't won there since 1968, and I remember that well, but I'm not going to go into it. Can we shake off the memories from Bramall Lane? What are your thoughts and your prediction? Debbie?
Well, as I said earlier, I think they're going to be awfully tired from the journey and playing games so closely together. And of course, Norwich just coming down and only been up for 1 year. So it will be very challenging. I think he would have had the really good chat with them and pushed on. And I'm very hopeful. So I'm going to say 2-1 and let's get in there. And all the people go and support them. It's really, really important. All the ones that went to Swansea, you did a marvellous time getting up there, a hard time. So let's do the same for Norwich.
James?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Norwich are a team that have just come down from the Premier League, and they were always going to be one of the favourites to go back up because that's what Norwich do in the Championship, isn't it? However, they haven't really started the season too well. I mean, I think they only got their first win the other night against Huddersfield, albeit they had to play against the Huddersfield side that had 10 men, and they only just got a win out of that. You've got to bear in mind also that they've got some pretty decent players, the likes of Timu Pukki, Todd Cantwell, Millet Rashika, Josh Sargent, Tim Krul in goal, Max Aarons. And yeah, I think with the games so closely congested to each other, it's going to be a tough night ahead for us. But the last time we were on TV on a Friday night, I believe, we won 3-0 against Nottingham Forest. So hopefully that's an onus for us to get a decent result against Norwich this time around. And I think the way that we started the season, albeit we've had a couple of minutes of madness against Swansea, the only game we lost was against Sheffield United, who again I expect to be up there come the end of the season. But I'm quietly confident about this one, and I'm going to say a 2-1 win.
It's 2-1s all round. Is it 2-1 for you, Jeff?
It's difficult to be optimistic for this one because, as Debbie's pointed out, how unlucky are we to have 2 long away trips so close together? I mean, what on earth was the time that the team got to bed on Tuesday night and off again on Thursday to go to Norwich for a Friday game? I think Norwich they've had a home game midweek, I think, and a home game on Friday. So, I mean, they've had an absolute lovely week compared to us. I think that will have an impact. And just for once, I am going to forecast that we don't get anything from this game. It's horrible to forecast against your own. So I think if you want a formal declaration of a prediction from me, I'm going to go Norwich 0, Millwall 0.
A draw, another draw. That'd be lovely. I wouldn't mind that either.
1 point's better than none.
Tis. It seems like the odds are in our favour, although we're coloured in a blue and white scarf, bar Jeff. Others have given us strong indications that they feel Millwall can do it. Well, let's see what happens tonight at Carrow Road. And as long as Carl Bates is there, I'm sure he'll take the edge off anything that's going on. Right, we'll take a break there.
Let's hope so.
We'll take a break there and hear what Fantastic Fanatics can do with a little bit of help from ourselves, and that is all of us.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes a Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and James Kelly. With summer holidays in progress, why not spend through the Fantastic Fanatics site and give a summertime bonus to the Millwall Community Trust? It will help them deliver such activity as school camps and walking football and sports for the over 50s. Right, our final guest tonight is not a stranger to the show, and his name has been a familiar sight all around the ground over a number of years. At the club, he is currently a patron of the Lions Food Hub and supports our show too. He is famed for looking after many Millwall families in time of personal loss as an undertaker, and his work in the community brought him to be honoured with an MBE. I'll say no more, but say hello to Dean Wilson.
Hello, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Yeah, they're all right. They'll talk to you individually, no doubt about it. Before I let you off to the panel, Dean, a new feature for fan guests is to briefly describe their most memorable Millwall game and why it sits strong in their memory.
Oh, right. Okay. I think I've got two, really, actually. I'll be greedy.
You can be.
I think one was when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my hero at the time was Brian King. Now, I can't remember who we were playing, but I used to watch him warm up all the time, and I knew I wanted to be a goalkeeper. But this particular match, he took me off of the terraces, took me onto the pitch to have a bit of a kick about him before the match. So I always remember that game, but I really can't remember who we were playing. And I think, secondly, it was our cup final, our FA Cup final. That was the win against Sunderland at Old Trafford with Timmy Cahill scoring. What I remember about that is not only the match, but the driving back down the motorway in the services, Millwall fans not believing that we were going to be in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
So I think that's the two that stick out for me. Yeah, without a doubt.
And what you got to remember there, Dean, of course, is if it wasn't for Jeff Burnige in his actions, the person that put the ball through in the first instance wouldn't have been there, because it was Jeff and Dennis Burnett who actually got Paul Ifill to the den.
Yeah, and what a player he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was great for Millwall.
Yeah, and Dennis has never forgiven Jeff for that. But I'll let Jeff talk about that personally. It's okay. James.
Evening, Dean. It's James here.
Oh, yeah. Hi, James.
Hiya. You're right. So we were just reflecting on the recent performances against Swansea and Coventry. What did you make of the performance against Swansea and, in general, our habit of giving away early goals?
We've got to stop. No, I mean, there's two games where we've conceded very early, and that puts you on the back foot straight away, doesn't it? I'm sure Gary's working to resolve that, but he can't be very happy with it. But to get 2 own goals in the last few minutes, well, you couldn't really write that, could you? And I don't know what the odds would have been on that. But I think it shows the character and the commitment of the team that we've got, that they've come back from 2-0 down to win that game. 2-0 down to draw that game and to win the other game. But my moment of the match, I think, against Swansea, has got to be that tackle from Ryan Leonard. For me, that epitomised Millwall. That was a Millwall tackle, and I think I might have seen the tackle of the season already there. But no, I'm sure Gary is concerned with it. But I mean, he's a good manager. He knows what he needs to do, and I'm sure he's doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess it's it's also pretty impressive to see the times that we are coming back to salvage something from these games so early on in the season, when fitnesses are still sort of getting there, when you're still sort of when you're still getting your fitness up. So the fact that we have that mental resilience to come back so early on in the season in these games is pretty impressive as well, isn't it?
Well, I think there's been times before that if you've been 2-0 down very early on, people were thinking about leaving. But I mean, would you leave now?
Absolutely not.
Say, with that character we've got in the team, you don't know what's going to happen, and that can only be good.
Absolutely.
Hi, Dean. It's Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to hear from you again. I'm a great supporter, as you know, of the Millwall Community Trust, and I help organise the MCT Kick and Cook for the junior children.
Right.
And I'm a great admirer of the work of Kelly and Ellen Webster and the Lions Food Hub team. Your wife, as you know, is Karen Wilson, who is the first team and training ground operations manager. Is now an ambassador. And I see your Undertakers is now a patron.
That's
How
right.
did you
Yeah.
become involved, and what you'll be doing? And it's great to have you on board.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you. Well, no, it's a pleasure and actually an honour to be involved with them. But Millwall have been running a much-needed food bank at the Den for a while now for local people, and it was started by Kelly and Helen, and they asked Karen to become an ambassador, and with her contacts, and she in turn asked me to sponsor it through my funeral directors, which we were pleased to do. We've recently had a collection kiosk placed in the Den car park, and on match days, fans can donate food and toiletry items, come along, drop them off, and they'll all be put to good use for local people, local families. Karen, with some of her ideas, has got the first team definitely on board with it, with the food hub. They regularly bring bags of shopping into the training ground for her, and they're doing their bit as well. And only this week, another idea that she had was to ask everyone coming to the under-21s games at the Den to pay £2.50 to park. And usually it's free, but people were willing to pay it. Some people even gave more. And I think this week alone, it was over £150 that can go towards buying food for local families. And, believe it or not, I've seen it firsthand. It really is needed. And it's for local people in the Millwall area. So, really honoured to be associated with it. So if there are any fans that are making their way to the games, bring your shopping, just buy a few extra items, drop them off, and they'll go to good use.
Fantastic.
Dean, it's Jeff here.
Hi, Jeff.
Look, congratulations on what you do. The latest thing being sponsoring the food hub. And I'm probably a bit late to this, but many congratulations from all of us on the MBE that you were awarded.
Thanks,
That's
Jeff.
fantastic.
Job.
Very well deserved. Let's talk football. 2 wins, 2 defeats and a draw.
Yep.
Right. That's including the League Cup defeat, isn't it?
Yeah.
That statistic. What's different this year is 5 subs.
Yeah.
We used 4 at Swansea, and the trend now seems to be that you've got starters and finishers. You know, we saw that with the England women's team and other teams in the Premier League that have got that kind of an idea. So what are your feelings about the players that Gary has brought into the side this season?
Well, I'm usually very sceptical about signings, but I'm actually excited about the players that we've brought in. Really pleased with them. Charlie Cresswell, young player. I think he's got a lot to learn, but I think he's a definite prospect, and I think he's way above his years already. So, he's a prospect for us. George Honeyman, that's my favourite signing from Gary. He'll be popular with his style of play. He's committed, never say never attitude. That's not to say he's not going to pick up a few yellow cards throughout the season, I think. But, he's going to be a dynamic midfielder, and his passing's brilliant as well. Zion Flynn, I think he's been unlucky with an early injury, and he just needs to adapt to our style. And I've actually spoken to him, and he's really, really fed up that he's got the injury, and he just wants to get going. And I think he's got a passion for Millwall already. And Andres Vogslammer, Vogie, I think he's going to be known as. He's a really good addition. And his form, I think, from his other club has been good. He knows where the back of the net is. And again, this is another player that just needs to learn the Millwall way. But they're younger players, a lot younger than players that we have signed in the past. So, I'm really excited.
Well, what about Jamie Shackleton?
Yep, Shackleton in midfield as well. Yeah, young, dynamic, fit, and they all want to play. They want they're players that they want to be in there week in, week out. And if they're not in the team, I think they're the type of players that are going to really fight to get in the team. So, I think you've only got to look at players we've signed in the past. They were probably players that were coming towards the end of their career. But Gary's sort of seen beyond that and realised what we need, and he's gone for it.
Well, one more thing to congratulate you on, Dean, is your reasonably good pronunciation of Vogelshammer. Not many people have managed that, and I think Vogie That will be an easy one, I think. Vogie.
We're going to be known as Vogie. Yeah,
I think it'll have to be. But you did it. You made a decent stab at that, I got to say.
Thanks, Jeff.
You'll have to give me lessons, please.
It's not that good.
Yeah, he was never very good at German in the fire service, but never mind. That was all right.
Not at all.
Okay. Anyway, Dean, so we played the Canaries at Carrow Road.
Yeah.
We haven't won there since 1968.
No.
We, I think, we haven't done anything since 2010 of any note. Either way. And
it's not a good track record, is
it? It's 3 losses and a draw, I think, in the last 4.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon?
Well, I've got to say Millwall win. I'm actually, if I had to put money on it, I'd say 2-1 Millwall. I mean, Norwich are a good championship side. Not sure about them in the Premiership. I think they need a lot more investment, but they are a good championship side. But we're capable of beating anyone. I think, we've seen it with Premiership sides. And, if the Mill team that are on form, got the right commitment, right attitude turn up, then we'll beat them. We just don't need to concede early again. So, no, I'm going to go for 2-1 Millwall.
Well, that's a pretty consistent prediction. Everyone we spoke to, except for 2. One person said 2-0, and then we had some bloke who said it's going to be a 0-0 draw.
Well, they've got Pookie up front, haven't they?
Yeah, they have got Pookie up front. Pookie, who we have recently found out, could have signed for us.
Oh, don't.
You're joking.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not joking.
Right.
I'm not joking. Ask that man who carried you over the wall at the deck.
Right, I will do. Yeah.
And he'll tell you the answer to that.
Oh, right. Okay. I'll go with him. Yeah.
Right.
I'll go with him.
Okay. Dean, thanks for joining us. I'm sure
problem.
We'll hear from you again along the way.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
And I look forward to catching up with you at the Den soon.
Definitely.
Until the next time, all the best to you, Karen, and the family. Bye for now.
Thanks, Eamonn. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Dean. Good night.
Thanks, Dean. Take care.
Well, Dean Wilson, how bad was that? And listen to Bethany Warren describing a most helpful application for the blind and those with poor sight.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Correct image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige with the squeaky chair, Debbie Julians and James Kelly. Can you imagine, if you were blind or of poor sight, the difficulty involved in selecting a holiday resort? Why not get the app and help the blind and poor-sighted to make decisions? Well, here is looking forward to the games ahead, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans.
First off, what about sponsoring a player? Enjoying a great executive lounge VIP package with family and or friends, or just getting behind the club in a number of different ways, which might include business propositions from advertising to sponsorship. Just contact Andrew Stead, Edgar or Lucy in the commercial department to find out more. With that, it's good night from me.
Next week, James is back for the show on Friday at 8 p.m. to host Kia, Ted and Stan. There will be a review of our game and a preview of what was coming up with the next couple of guests too. Don't miss it. So good night.
The next Millwall History and Heritage Tour takes place on the 24th of September, starting at 11 a.m, and tickets are currently on sale on eventbrite.co.uk. Just search for Millwall History and Heritage on the site. Also, Mike George, a member of the team, has created an image on the front cover of Brian King's book. He wants to auction the image for the benefit of the Millwall Community Trust. If you would like to bid for the image, please email, I'll spell that out for you, noluttalkin@gmail.com. And the winning bid received by Thursday next week will receive the image. You can view the image on the Facebook History and Heritage Tour site on Facebook. And that's good night from me.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team and bring reports from our games, both home and away, and updates on Millwall Community Trust matters too, on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Links are on our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter social media sites and all popular podcast sites. That's it from me. Thanks, James. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks to Squeaky Chair and Jeff. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night.